On the Facebook dating app, and I found this interesting looking woman, and I liked her and she liked me, and we started talking and we started getting to know each other, and it was all through text. And I guess that's really the first red light. She said she said she was local, but she was away. She was going away really the day or the day after that we started talking, going to LA to visit with her cousins, and that the way that she liked to get to know people is through texting first. As a way of writing is a way, her exact words were, "This helps me to see into another person's soul is through writing." And it's very interesting because there's both an external part to this, that the person who was able to convince me and build that trust with me is very, very good at what she does. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's, they are getting so much better at understanding the psychology of what people are attracted to and looking for, and really speaking to that. But then there's also my internal reality and my own internal life. And so I was open to it. And I was open to it in part because I had a very loving long-distance relationship for a couple of years during COVID, and I spent a lot of time getting to know that person. I mean, we did meet in person before we started our long-distance relationship, but at the same time, a lot of our time together because of COVID was spent in a long-distance and in a WhatsApp kind of relationship. We would share messages together all day. So, I was curious and I was open, and so that's how things started. And we just started sending messages and getting to know each other that way. And I was, she's Chinese, and she had a way with words that was very poetic and very interesting way of expressing herself. And as someone who's into Eastern styles of massage and into healing in general, just getting to know her was very interesting. And she presented herself as someone who also had a very strong business background. So, in the cadence and in the back and forth that was going on at the beginning, when she told me that she had that business background, I just kind of let it out that, oh, well, maybe at some point you can help me to become a better investor, because that's something I'm looking to become better at doing. So, she didn't actually have to reel me in very hard, because it truly was something that I was interested in. I managed to save some money over the last couple of years, especially as I was rebuilding from COVID and looking for a way or ways to invest. And I'd actually purchased a course a couple of months earlier and was planning to dig into that course, which was teaching me all about, prudent ways of investing and building more of a nest egg, So I just let it slip. And then a part of what was so, deviously successful about her approach is that she didn't really say much about it until maybe 2 or 3 days later, and then came back to me with it and basically said, I remember you were into that investment idea, and maybe I do have something to share with you. And so she shared with me, and what she shared with me was a way of doing crypto trading through short-term trading. So basically buying long or selling short and making trades that only last for a very short amount of time, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, etc. And then you see what kind of return you get in that amount of time. And the way she said it and was explaining it to me was that right now was a really perfect time to invest because of the conditions in the market, but it was only going to last for a little while, and asked me if I was interested. So, and that wasn't the only thing that we were talking about. In fact, I would say even at that time, it represented, maybe 5% or 10% of our conversation was around finance or around investing. We were just getting to know each other and building up a connection, or, what certainly felt like a connection. And I said, sure. And essentially, she showed me that what I would need to do in order to make this work is that, to support the technology of doing the short and long trading like that, it's not something to do on like Coinbase or Bitcoin or whatever the other like major exchanges are. She showed me a specific exchange that I would need to sign up to and join, and then we would transfer some money into that account and then see how it works. And so that's basically what we did. And I also happened to have a little bit of experience trading, so I had an exchange account already set with one of the bigger names, and then from there it was really pretty simple to just set up the other account on another platform and transfer some money from point A to point B. And she, I had told her how much I had in that account, and she said, I really am concerned about your safety. I don't want to do anything risky, so let's just start with a small amount. She suggested I take half of that and that we try. And so that half was about $3,500, and that's what I started with. And essentially, she would tell me exactly how much to trade and at the exact right moment, because she had some kind of knowledge through her own knowledge of Bitcoin, and she had on her computer, basically connected to the Bitcoin network, and she had a mentor. And so, this is all part of that backstory that I would say if you want to learn more about, you can go to my blog and explain it in more detail. But that was basically it, that she would tell me the amounts to trade, and I would do it. 2 minutes later, I would get a return, and it was amazing. Essentially every time that I did a trade, it was working out, and I would get like a 10% return in 2 minutes. And so, in about an hour's worth of setting this up and doing the trading, my $3,500 had become $4,200 or $4,300. And I was like, wow, I've never made money like this before. And it's just felt like such a gift, and she felt like such a gift. And, I was on cloud nine, really. And that's how we ended it that night. And she said that for her, she does these kinds of trades for herself every, 2 or 3 times a week. And she was interested in sharing it with me, in part because, in getting to know each other, she was excited about my career and having a family and what I would do with the money. And she was someone who was looking for a student, that she had amassed her wealth and had done really well for herself, and now was very excited about sharing that. And again, as a teacher, I could relate to that, because I know that I've been gifted with a practice in Thai yoga massage, and sharing that and finding people who are truly passionate about the work and being able to teach them and share it and see them flourish with it is one of the great gifts of my life. So, like I said, I, in a lot of ways internally, I happen to be a really good person to get excited and for her to really succeed at her job, because I had things going on in my life. I had stuff that had happened in my own past that made me pretty susceptible to it, and I trusted her, and so that first night was that much money. And then we took the rest of the money from that crypto account. And then, within a few days, essentially, I had probably profited $5,000 or $6,000. And I was just, the decision was like, do I go into, I had other savings that I had been building over the period of years, and do I take from that and invest it and see if I can turn it into something more? And so I did. And within 3 weeks, I thought I had actually made about $45,000, and I was blown away, because for me, that is just life-changing wealth and prosperity, and what I could do with that, to help pay for my daughter's college, to help build my business, etc. And, and so even if this was only going to go on for a couple more weeks, because as she said, it was a short-term thing, this was just a golden parachute, that's what it felt like. And I was also, of course, very excited about her as a person and getting to start to build a life with this person. So, at this point I started telling other people, and the first person I told, was just genuinely excited for me. And it just, as I was saying, I'm just like, I have the craziest dating story for you, and here's what's going on. And then the second people I told, they were equally excited, but they were skeptical. And, truthfully, I was skeptical as well. It's not like I just completely bought into, is this real? I tried to research it. I Googled things. I was checking out short-term and long-term trading. It all seemed like a thing, and a thing that really exists in the world of investing. I attempted, when I had only invested a small amount of my money into the exchange, to see if I could, or really when I made that first investment, to see if I could take money out. And I did a little test with a small amount, and that worked for me as well. So, I didn't really suspect it until I had shared with the second set of friends what was going on. And it took a few minutes of them Googling and checking it out. And essentially that's where they pulled up the pig butchering scam, which